Hello, thanks for tuning in. This is Dan and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please like and subscribe. This is where we just review and check out lots of outdoor gardening tools and other appropriate tools, I suppose, for maintaining these kind of things. We're not going to be looking at drills and the workshop tools so much. It's mainly outdoor power tools, be electric, electronic, battery, whatever you want to see. And we're gonna have a look today at the new head I've just got for my EGO AH1531, which is the EGO commercial line trimmer. You can only use this with a battery pack. Perhaps I'll do another review of that, or more a comparison to maybe put some petrol tools. It's a nice trimmer. It's not a monster, let's say, but it's certainly good for around houses, etc., whether it be commercial or homeowners. It's not a brush cutter by any means, that's for sure, if you've used a brush cutter. However, the head that comes with it is utter garbage, I'm afraid. And my main gripe with it is that something happens called line weld, and I don't know if you've ever had that experience with a line trimmer, is when you bump it and it doesn't want to feed out, and you go inside and you have to pull out this whole interior thing. I'll just try and get it out. And when you go to do it, it's not in this situation at the moment, but I haven't used it, that these lines are actually jammed in. They're so tight they're jammed into the roll below, and you have to really quite yank it out, reset it, and start again. Now, I've only used this line, which is the steel top of the range line, and it's a really good line. It's the best line I've certainly worked with. And there's a channel on YouTube where the guy reviews in detail lots of different things, and one of the things he reviews on one show is line trimmer line, and line weld is something he goes into with all the different lines. And this line didn't come up terrible as suffering from line weld, so I really wasn't prepared just to try a bunch of different lines. And also, I don't really like the fact that you have to take this out and manually feed this on. Now, if you look at the size, it's considerably bigger than this one. And this one, I don't know if it actually holds any more line. But even if it did, I don't really care. It's really not worth it's not worth getting. And if you get this line trimmer, the first thing I would suggest you do is take this off. Actually, don't. Try it. Take it off, send it back to EGO and tell them how rubbish it is, and tell them to put this one on, or make an even larger version of that. Now, this is the original head that I got with I believe it's the STE1530, which was EGO's first, I'm saying inverted commas, commercial, because they didn't call it commercial line trimmer head. And it's one that you feed in from the outside, and then you wind it in manually, like so, as you can see that happening. Much better, much easier. Downside to this model is that this bottom piece wears really badly, and I've been through 2 of these already. This one cracked not too long ago. And I've just epoxied that crack, so that's actually, I ground out the crack with a Dremel, or my Ozito Dremel, and filled that back in with an epoxy. So I'm just going to keep using that until it dies. This is the new version. Now, the only really downside to this, I suppose, well, there's 2 downsides to it. The first one is this part, like I've just mentioned, and the other thing is when you're feeding the line in, you have to turn this and line up 2 dots, and then you can feed the line through the middle. and it's really hard to see where those lines are. I mean, I can't see it in here, it just looks like black inside, so you've got to go into direct sunlight and point it in the right way to be able to line those two holes up. It's not the end of the world, but it's still a bit of a pain. Now this new one has got multiple points. I'll try and take it off. I haven't actually used this yet, but we'll get out and have a go with it. You can see there's a point where you can load it through, there's a point, there's a point, there's a point. So you only have to turn it like, what's that, 20 mil at the most to find one of those points, and they're angled. So with just a bit of pushing and fiddling and wiggling, it will just go in there. Now the only downside I can see from the onset, I'll just take this out and show you how it goes in as well afterwards, is that, let's have a look. This section here, which you just undo a few screws to get out, I suppose. That's going to be your wear point, and I don't know if you can get that separate. That's just a thin piece of plastic. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Now the main reason you get the wear on it is from this piece of plastic hitting the ground as you bump. Not such a big deal on grass and everything, but if you're on paths and things like that, that's when you're going to really wear it. So you've got to be careful and stay away from bumping on grass. I think the first one I had, I went through in about 2 months because I was just bumping it on concrete and pavement and stuff like that. Now this one has got a floating piece of plastic that spins, and that stops obviously the wear going onto the rest of the body. The commercial head also has that, and as you can see there's plenty of wear on that, but I haven't used this as much as that, I don't think, because I got pretty sick of this pretty quick. But that's holding up okay, and it's also still freely spinning, which would be my main worry as well, of that jamming up and then just becoming a wear point. So we will just have to see. I don't know if that's user replaceable. EGO has a website where you can get pretty much every single part of, well, every single machine. There's like, you don't have to go out and buy this whole unit, I'm guessing, or you certainly didn't have to do it with this version. You could just buy these independent parts rather than just buying the whole assembly. So hopefully that's still the way. Yeah. So I suppose we'll just have to give it a go, and I'll let you know. I'll just give you a quick run through of how to load it. It's pretty easy. They do have consumer versions of this as well, which is something, I think it's called the auto load, and that has a little mechanized, that has a motor in it basically that sucks it in for you. Now I haven't tried it, and to be honest I'm not that interested in trying it, because on the consumer models the motor is in the head, whereas in this the motor is at the top up there, and I'd just be worried about damaging it. And also they're just not as powerful. They don't have as big area for the line. I don't know how you want to call it. They're often clockwise, whereas most commercial units are anti-clockwise, and I don't know why that is. It's just the way that they've been, and I suppose you just get used to it. Maybe it's a right-handed, left-handed thing. I'm a lefty, but I've just been using anti-clockwise heads for 20 years, so I'm just kind of used to it. So anyway, so what you do is you just stick it in, and this is only the second time I've done it, and like I say on the other ones, you'd have to be lining this up and looking in this hole. You just stick it in and that's it. It went through first time. This can be in any position. that one, you know, that was it's a little bit more fiddly on this one. No, it didn't work. Maybe it wasn't in, yeah, it just wasn't quite on the lock point. That went in, done. What I tend to do is, obviously this is connected to your whippersnipper head or your line trimmer. Sorry, I'm in Australia, we call them whippersnippers. And you just pull until you get your two endpoints. That would be me standing on that, on the ground. Make sure they're even. Lift your machine back up, and there's a wind direction. I think it's the opposite on that one. I'm not too sure why, but you just wind. It takes about 4 meters of line. I'm not too sure what diameter this one is. It looks similar to that one, and that's 2.4. So I would just wind it back in just past your cut points, which are on your guard here, and put it on, and then that's it. You're off. I mean, when I just go out and I take, how is this connected on? Oh, it's just through there. I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I have a pair of secateurs in my little pouch here, and I'll take a few of these. Excuse me, bang, crash, wallop. It's a total mess in here. 3, 4. That's just I miscounted that. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. My block's super rough, so there's a lot of fencing, a lot of stones, and I just tear through line in this place. So I will just take a few of these in my little pouch and, yeah, get on my way for the day. It was a pretty simple install, although I didn't film it. 1 bolt, 1 nut rather, and that was that. I've already been using the old one. I just ran out of line, and I thought it'd be a good time to change it, and I also wanted to get a feel for the old one just before I switched it to the new one, so I could compare it pretty similarly, because I haven't used this for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. It's just been pouring rain. So I suppose my things that I'm going to look out for is the balance. Does it vibrate at all? It shouldn't vibrate. And does it easily feed when you bump? That's pretty much it. What you ask of a bump head, it's not much. It's all, everything's greased up in here, and you don't grease this. You're just greasing inside here. That's a screw. You undo that and you grease inside there, and I checked and it was all great, because I didn't do that long ago. You shouldn't have to do that very often. Let's go. Yep, let's plug it in, hey? That might actually make it work. It's a bit long, it'll cut itself. Let's just check it. And we'll wear it down a bit and just make sure it feeds. Do the edges. I should just note that you shouldn't be hitting edges at full RPM with line trimmer line, as it will just destroy it. You pretty much, this runs at about 6,000 RPM. You don't really want to go above about 2,000 when you're doing edging, and your line will not disappear. However, I want my line to disappear just now. So That's sort of your edging speed. Okay, what's happening? Felt a bit of vibration there. Haven't gone down in a line at all. I mean, I've got to find out what this is. It's an unbranded one. It just came with his head. It came branded as EGO. Often it will be Oregon or something. But geez, I've been hammered on edging and it's not going away. Let's go outside. It's still not going down. Oh my god. That's amazing. I would have gone through so much of that steel stuff by now. Maybe it's just really old, that steel stuff. And yeah. I mean, a way to revive old line is to put it in a bucket of water for a couple of days, because it can get dry and brittle. But underneath the house is really wet, and it's been really wet for the last few months. But you never know. I mean, I bought a bulk roll and I don't use it a lot, so maybe it's just old and brittle. I'll have to write to EGO and find out who this is, because it's insane. Okay, let's just kill it. Hooray! Got it down. All right, let's go. Bump, bump, bump. Have to give it a bit of a bump, but it's also new, so it could be a bit stiff. But the issue with having to give it a big bump is that you can often go too deep in your grass, like that. Pretty good, no complaints. Longevity is obviously the only other thing that I can't talk about, because I've just put it on. So if something goes terribly wrong with it, I will do another video in the future, but that's great. Pretty happy with that, and the loading is awesome because it takes seconds to thread it, where the other one takes sometimes a minute or two to find the hole. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe if you like this sort of thing.